US President Donald Trump has recently been praised for brokering a historic peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. But of course, the news chose to cover Trump flirting with an African reporter during the deal signing.
She's beautiful, and you are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that, that could be the end of my political career, but I'll say it anyway.
The reporter, Ariana Veras, even said Trump could be up for a Nobel Peace Prize for his contribution to the peace deal. But let's swim away from the mainstream media for a few minutes to look at the root causes of this conflict. It's a story about how the DRC had a revolutionary Pan-African president named Patrice Lumumba. In 1960, Lumumba became the DRC's first elected prime minister. It was a pivotal moment after a period of colonization that included a genocide against the people of the DRC. Under colonialism, Belgium's King Leopold splintered the existing native kingdoms and turned the country into his private land to acquire valuable minerals at the expense of the indigenous people. We're talking about nearly a quarter of a century where at least 8 to 10 million people were killed in all kinds of ways, through brutal labor, maiming, starvation, and disease. But you probably know all this from history books, right? But if you didn't, check out Adam Hochschild, who wrote King Leopold's Ghost, if you think I'm making this stuff up, of course. But let's get back to Lumumba, who only served for 10 weeks as prime minister before the US and Belgium plotted and succeeded in assassinating him. This is not a conspiracy theory, this is proven fact. Again, if you don't want to take my word for it, check out declassified US government documents available in the public domain, which reveal that in August 1960, CIA Director Allen Dulles declared, quote, "We conclude that Lumumba's removal must be an urgent and prime objective." It was also discussed in the 1975-76 US Senate Church Committee report, which confirmed, quote, "assassination plots against Lumumba, orchestrated by the CIA." In 2021, Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo even returned a gold-capped tooth of Lumumba to his family in Brussels and apologized for what his country did. But the story after his assassination gets even worse. After Lumumba was killed, the country descended into decades of civil conflict and instability, rooted in colonial methods of divide and conquer. And this is what drives me nuts. When you see the DRC Congo being covered online or on television, you see images of suffering, poverty, and hear stories of savagery. You hear about millions of refugees and the dangers of visiting the DRC. In recent times, this conflict has been going on between the Congolese government and the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels in the east of the country. But what you won't hear is how all the tensions began, how colonial powers exasperated existing social conflicts between the Hutu and Tutsi ethnic groups in Rwanda, racializing ethnic differences that were originally based on social status. Belgium issued ethnicity cards where the Tutsi minority were treated as superior to the Hutu majority. When the Hutu majority ultimately gained power in Rwanda in 1959, they forced the displacement of the Tutsis. More acts of violence led to building tensions that erupted in the 1994 Rwanda genocide, where 800,000 people, mainly Tutsi, were killed by extremist Hutus. After the genocide, many Rwandan Hutus migrated to the DRC, which led to Rwandan Tutsi groups in the DRC feeling threatened, and each country's military getting involved. Which brings us back to Trump and the African reporter at the White House. Actually, wait, I've got more things you won't hear about, like how major US tech companies profit from the same age-old conflicts to exploit native cobalt and lithium mines that power our electric cars and iPhones. And you won't hear how, buried in the text of the peace deal, are mentions of plans for trade in Congolese minerals backed by possible US investment. Now, I'm not saying that peace isn't the best way forward, but rather, I'm asking, do you know how the DRC fell into this cycle of violence? And do you know who is profiting from the instability in this colossal, resource-rich African nation that is home to more than 85 million people? I'm Ahmed Ghoneim. You just watched the Digital Context Explainer on CGTN America. Like, subscribe, comment, support us. Hey, and remember, read your history, fam.